The morning alarm went off at 6:30, just like it had every day for the past week. Maya hit the snooze button once, then twice before finally dragging herself out of bed. Today was different, though. Today was her first real day at work. Not just any work, but an internship at one of the biggest companies in the city. She stood in front of her closet for what felt like forever, trying to decide what to wear. The black pants? Too formal. The blue dress? Maybe too casual. Finally, she settled on something in between and hoped for the best. Her mother had ironed her clothes the night before, telling her how proud she was. Maya could still hear her voice saying, "Just be yourself, and everything will be fine." The bus ride to downtown took 40 minutes. Maya watched the city wake up through the window. Coffee shops opening their doors, people rushing to catch trains. Everyone seemed to know exactly where they were going and what they were doing. She wondered if she'd ever feel that confident. The building was impossible to miss. 20 stories of glass and steel, reflecting the morning sun like a giant mirror. Tech Vista Corporation was written in silver letters above the main entrance. Maya had seen pictures online, but standing in front of it was something else entirely. She took a deep breath and walked through the revolving doors. The lobby was huge. Marble floors so shiny she could almost see her reflection. A waterfall feature along one wall. Leather couches that probably cost more than her entire college tuition. Everything screamed success and money. Maya felt small suddenly, like she didn't quite belong in a place this grand. People were everywhere moving with purpose. Men in expensive suits, women in designer heels, everyone carrying laptops or tablets, talking on phones, looking important. Maya noticed something strange, though. Nobody was really looking at each other. They walked past one another like strangers on a crowded street. No smiles, no hellos. Just focused faces staring at screens or straight ahead. She checked in at the security desk, got her badge, and waited in the lobby as instructed. Her supervisor was supposed to meet her at 8. Maya checked her phone. 7:55. She sat on one of those expensive couches and tried not to look as nervous as she felt. A woman in her mid-30s approached at exactly 8 o'clock. Not a minute early, not a minute late. She was dressed in a sharp gray suit, her hair pulled back in a tight bun. Everything about her said business. "You must be the new intern," the woman said, extending her hand. "I'm Rachel Kim, marketing director. I'll be overseeing your work here." Maya stood up quickly, maybe too quickly, and shook her hand. "Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really excited to learn and help out however I can." Rachel gave a small smile, the kind that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Follow me. We have a lot to cover." The elevator ride was silent. Rachel typed something on her phone while Maya tried to think of something to say. Should she ask about the company? Make small talk? Comment on the weather? Nothing felt right, so she stayed quiet. The marketing department was on the 12th floor. Rachel walked fast, her heels clicking against the tile floor. Maya had to speed up to keep pace. They passed dozens of cubicles. People were already at their desks, focused on their computer screens. A few glanced up as they walked by, but most didn't even notice. Rachel showed her to a small desk in the corner. It had a computer, a phone, and nothing else. No personal touches, no plants, no pictures, just functional workspace. "This is your station," Rachel said. "Computer login and password are on this paper. You'll need to change the password after your first login. Our team meeting is at 9. Until then, go through the employee handbook on the shared drive. Any questions?" Maya had about 100 questions, but Rachel's tone suggested she wasn't really asking. "No, I think I'm good for now." "Great. Work hard, stay focused, and you'll do fine here. We're a results-driven company. Performance matters more than anything else." Rachel checked her watch. "I need to prepare for the meeting. See you at 9. And just like that, she was gone. Maya sat at her desk and looked around. The cubicle. Walls were high enough that she couldn't see anyone else unless she stood up. She could hear the quiet hum of computers, occasional typing, someone coughing in the distance, but no conversations, no laughter, just work. She logged into the computer and opened the employee handbook. Page after page of policies, procedures, expectations. Dress code, work hours, break policies. Everything was spelled out in precise formal language. One section caught her attention: professional conduct standards. It emphasized efficiency, productivity, and maintaining a professional atmosphere at all times. The 9 o'clock meeting was in a glass-walled conference room. 8 people sat around a long table, all looking at their laptops or phones. Rachel introduced Maya briefly. A few people nodded in her direction. One person said, "Welcome," without looking up from their screen. Then Rachel launched into business updates, deadlines, projects, numbers, targets. Maya tried to follow along, taking notes, hoping she'd understand more as time went on. After the meeting, she went back to her desk. Rachel had emailed her a list of tasks: research competitor social media strategies, compile data on engagement rates, create a summary report by end of day. Maya dove in, grateful to have something concrete to focus on. Lunchtime came and went. Maya had brought a sandwich from home, ate it at her desk while working. She noticed most people did the same. The break room was nearly empty when she walked by to refill her water bottle. 2 people sat at separate tables, both looking at their phones, not talking. The afternoon dragged. Maya's eyes hurt from staring at the computer. Her back ached from sitting. But she kept working, determined to make a good first impression. Around 4 o'clock, she finished the report and emailed it to Rachel. 20 minutes later, Rachel replied, "Good start. Few formatting issues. We'll review in detail tomorrow." Good start. Maya tried to feel encouraged by that. By 5:30, people started leaving. Not all at once, but gradually. Maya wasn't sure if she should leave at 5 or stay later. She didn't want to seem lazy, but she also didn't want to be the awkward intern who didn't know when to go home. She decided to leave at 6 after finishing up some extra research. The elevator was crowded on the way down. Maya stood in the back corner, squished between a wall and several tired-looking employees. Everyone was quiet, staring at the floor numbers as they lit up one by one. Walking back through that impressive lobby, Maya felt exhausted, not just physically but emotionally. Something about the place felt off. She couldn't put her finger on it exactly. Everyone was professional. The office was beautiful. The work was interesting. But there was a coldness to it all, a distance between people that felt unnatural. On the bus ride home, she thought about her college campus, how different it had been. People saying hi in the hallways, professors who knew your name, study groups where you'd laugh about something random before getting back to work. There was warmth there, connection. Her mother asked how the first day went. Maya said it was fine, good, a great opportunity. And it was, truly. She was lucky to be there. But as she lay in bed that night, she couldn't shake a feeling that something important was missing from that gleaming building with its marble floors and leather couches. She thought about tomorrow, about going back to that quiet office where people worked side by side but felt miles apart. And she wondered if this was just how the professional world worked. If this was what growing up meant. Trading warmth for success. Trading connection for career. Maya closed her eyes and hoped that maybe, somehow, it didn't have to be that way. Day 3 started the same as the others. Early alarm, quick breakfast, long bus ride. Maya was getting used to the routine now, though. The nervous feeling in her stomach hadn't completely gone away yet. She'd learned a few things in her first 2 days. The coffee on the 3rd floor was better than the 2nd floor. Rachel preferred emails over in-person questions. The bathroom on the east side was quieter. Small things that made navigating the office a bit easier. This morning, Rachel had given her a new task: prepare presentation folders for a big client meeting, print out materials, organize them in the right order, make sure everything looked perfect. It seemed simple enough, but Maya knew better than to take anything lightly here. Every detail mattered. She spent the morning at the printer, carefully checking each page. No smudges, no misaligned text. Everything had to be flawless. By 11:30, she had 25 folders ready, stacked neatly in her arms. The conference room was on the 18th floor. Maya had never been up that high in the building before. She headed to the elevator, balancing the stack of folders carefully. These things probably represented hours of work from multiple people. The last thing she wanted was to drop them. The elevator doors opened. She stepped inside and hit the button for 18. Just as the doors started to close, a hand shot through, triggering them to open again. A man stepped in. Tall, probably in his 50s, wearing a navy blue suit that looked like it cost more than Maya's rent. His hair was starting to gray at the temples. He had the kind of face that could be intimidating, all sharp angles and serious lines. But there was something tired in his eyes. Maya did what came naturally to her, what her parents had taught her since she was little. She smiled and said, "Good morning." The man looked up, clearly surprised. He'd been reaching for his phone, but he stopped. For a second, he just stared at her, like he wasn't sure if she was talking to him. Then slowly his expression changed. The hard lines softened. A genuine smile spread across his face. "Good morning," he replied. His voice was warm, not what Maya expected at all. They stood in comfortable silence as the elevator climbed. Maya watched the numbers light up. 10, 11, 12. She could feel him looking at her badge, though he didn't say anything. At 18, the doors opened. Maya shifted the folders in her arms and stepped out. "Have a great day," she said over her shoulder. "You too," the man called back. She could hear the smile still in his voice. Maya found the conference room and carefully arranged the folders at each seat. She made sure they were perfectly aligned, all facing the same direction. When she was satisfied, she headed back downstairs. She didn't think about the elevator encounter again. It was just a normal interaction, the kind she'd have anywhere. A simple hello, a smile, basic human courtesy. Nothing special. But the office seemed especially quiet that afternoon. Maya worked on some data entry, responding to Rachel's edits on her previous reports. Around 3 o'clock, Rachel appeared at her cubicle with an odd expression on her face. "Maya, can I ask you something?" Maya looked up, worried she'd done something wrong. "Of course. Did you talk to anyone unusual this morning?" "Maybe in the elevator?" Maya thought back. "Oh yeah. There was a man in a nice suit. I just said good morning to him. Why? Was I not supposed to use that elevator?" Rachel's eyes went wide. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Then she shook her head slowly. No, that elevator is fine. It's just... Never mind. Get back to work." She walked away quickly, and Maya heard her whisper something to another co-worker. They both glanced in her direction, then continued talking in hushed voices. Maya felt confused. What was that about? She tried to focus on her work, but she kept wondering what she'd done wrong. Maybe important executives used that elevator and interns weren't supposed to talk to them, but the man had seemed nice. He'd smiled back. Surely a simple greeting wasn't a problem. The rest of the afternoon felt strange. People kept looking at her. Not obviously, but she'd catch them glancing over, then quickly looking away. During her water bottle refill trip, she noticed 2 people in the break room stop talking when she walked in. By 5 o'clock, Maya was seriously worried. Had she somehow broken an important rule? Was she going to get in trouble? She thought about asking Rachel, but didn't want to seem paranoid or draw more attention to herself. On her way out, she passed by a group of people waiting for the elevator. She recognized them from her floor. Usually, they didn't acknowledge her at all. But today, one of them, a guy probably in his late 20s with glasses, actually looked at her. "Hey," he said. Just that one word, but it was more than anyone besides Rachel had said to her since she started. "Hi," Maya replied, a bit surprised. The elevator came and they all got in. The guy with glasses stood next to her. "You're the new marketing intern, right?" "Yeah, started this week." He nodded, a slight smile on his face. "Welcome aboard. I'm Kevin. I work in product development. Nice to meet you." They rode down in silence, but it felt different than before. Less cold somehow. When they reached the lobby, Kevin said, "See you around," before heading out. Maya walked to her bus stop feeling confused. The whole day had been weird. That thing with Rachel asking about the elevator, people staring, and now someone was actually being friendly. At home, she tried to explain it to her mother while they prepared dinner. "So you said good morning to someone and now everyone's acting strange?" her mother asked, chopping vegetables. "I know it sounds crazy, but I swear something changed after that," her mother smiled. Maybe you just made a good impression on someone important. I doubt it. I'm just an intern. Nobody important cares about interns. But her mother's words stuck with her. That night, lying in bed, Maya thought about the man in the elevator. The expensive suit, the way everyone seemed to react when Rachel asked about him. Who was he? She grabbed her laptop and pulled up the Tech Vista website, clicked on the About Us section, then Leadership Team, and there he was. Third photo down. That same serious face, though in the picture he wasn't smiling. Robert Mitchell, founder and CEO of Tech Vista Corporation. Maya's stomach dropped. She'd greeted the CEO like he was just another person. No wonder Rachel looked shocked. No wonder people were acting weird. She'd probably committed some massive breach of corporate etiquette. You probably weren't supposed to casually chat with the CEO in elevators. She closed her laptop and pulled the covers over her head. Great. Just great. 3 days into her internship and she'd already made herself stand out in the worst possible way. But then she thought about the encounter again. Really thought about it. The CEO hadn't seemed annoyed or offended. He'd smiled. A real smile. Not the fake corporate kind she'd seen in 100 meetings already. He'd seemed almost happy about it. Maybe she was overthinking this. Maybe it wasn't as bad as she thought. Or maybe she was about to get called into HR tomorrow and asked to leave. There was really no way to know. The next morning, Maya almost called in sick. But she didn't. She got up, got dressed, took her bus, and walked into that marble lobby with her head held high. If she was going to get in trouble, she might as well face it head on. The elevator ride up was tense. She kept expecting someone to stop her, to tell her she needed to report somewhere for a talking to. But nothing happened. She made it to her desk without incident. Rachel was already there, standing by Maya's cubicle with her tablet. Maya's heart started racing. Here it comes. Maya, I need you in the conference room in 15 minutes. Is everything okay? Rachel's expression was unreadable. Just be there on time. Those 15 minutes felt like 15 hours. Maya tried to imagine what she'd say. Should she apologize? Explain that she didn't know? Promise it would never happen again? When she walked into the conference room, she was surprised to see it wasn't just Rachel. 3 other people from senior management were there too. All of them looking at her with expressions she couldn't quite read. Sit down. Maya, Rachel said, gesturing to a chair. Maya sat, her hands folded in her lap to keep them from shaking. Rachel looked at the others, then back at her. We wanted to talk to you about yesterday. Here it was. Maya nodded, preparing for the worst. The person you greeted in the elevator, Rachel continued, was Robert Mitchell, our CEO. I know, Maya said quietly. I saw his picture on the website. I'm sorry if I wasn't supposed to. You're not in trouble, one of the other managers interrupted. A woman with short gray hair and kind eyes. Quite the opposite, actually. Maya looked up, confused. I'm not? Rachel leaned forward. Robert mentioned your interaction in yesterday's executive meeting. He said it was the first time in months someone had treated him like a regular person instead of a title. He seemed genuinely moved by it. Maya didn't know what to say. She'd expected a reprimand, not this. We're not here to criticize you, the kind-eyed woman continued. We're here because your simple gesture apparently started an important conversation upstairs about our company culture. And we wanted to thank you for that. Maya felt dizzy. This was not at all how she'd imagined this conversation going. The next few days felt surreal. Maya kept waiting for things to go back to normal, for everyone to forget about the elevator incident and treat her like the invisible intern again. But instead, something strange started happening. On Thursday morning, she was walking to her desk when someone she'd never spoken to before smiled at her. Not a fake corporate smile, but a real one. Morning, the woman said as they passed each other. Maya smiled back, caught off guard. Good morning. It happened again at the coffee machine. A guy from accounting nodded at her while filling his mug. How's your week going? Good, thanks. Yours? Can't complain. Well, I could, but I won't. He grinned and walked away. Small interactions, nothing earth-shattering. But in a place where people had walked past each other like ghosts for days, it felt significant. By Friday, Maya started noticing other changes. In the break room, 2 people were actually sitting at the same table talking about their weekend plans. Someone had put up a small plant on their cubicle desk. Another person had a family photo displayed. Tiny things, but they added up to something different. Rachel called Maya into her office that afternoon. Maya had gotten used to these check-ins by now, though they still made her nervous. "I wanted to update you on something," Rachel said, but her tone was softer than usual. "Robert, the CEO, has been doing something interesting this week." Maya listened, curious. "He's been walking the floors. Different departments each day, introducing himself to employees by first name, asking about their projects, actually listening to what they say." Rachel paused, choosing her words carefully. "He hasn't done that in years." "That's nice," Maya said, not sure what else to say. "He mentioned you again in the leadership meeting. Said your greeting reminded him of why he started this company, something about bringing people together, not creating walls between them." Rachel looked at Maya with an expression that might have been respect. "Whatever you did, it clearly resonated with him." Maya felt her face getting warm. "I just said hello. I didn't do anything special." "Maybe that's exactly the point," Rachel said quietly, almost to herself. That evening, riding the bus home, Maya thought about what Rachel had said. She hadn't been trying to make a statement or change anything. She'd just been herself. The way her parents raised her, the way her professors had treated her in college. Like people mattered regardless of their position or title. It seemed so simple, too simple to make a difference. Yet somehow it had. The following week started with an email that went out to the entire company. Maya read it on her phone during her morning commute. From the desk of Robert Mitchell, CEO. "Over the past weeks, I've had the chance to walk our floors and meet many of you personally. These conversations have reminded me of something important that we've lost along the way. We've become so focused on results and efficiency that we've forgotten we're a community of people, not just employees. Starting today, I'm announcing a new initiative, Connection Mondays. Every Monday, I encourage each of you to have coffee or lunch with someone from a different department. Get to know them, not as job titles, but as people. Additionally, I'll be hosting open office hours every Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m. Anyone can sign up for a 15-minute conversation. Want to share an idea? Need help with something? Just want to chat? All are welcome. We're going to remember how to connect with each other again." Maya read the email twice. Connection Mondays. Open office hours. This was real. Things were actually changing. When she got to the office, people were talking about the email, not complaining or mocking it, but actually discussing it. Some seemed skeptical, sure, but others seemed almost hopeful. Kevin from product development stopped by her desk. "Hey Maya, want to grab coffee Monday? I figure we should actually do this thing." "Sure," Maya said, surprised but pleased. "That sounds great." "Cool. I'll find you Monday morning." Throughout the day, more people stopped by. Not just to say hi to Maya specifically, but to each other. The floor felt different. Less like a collection of isolated cubicles and more like a workspace where humans actually worked. Rachel even seemed different. During their afternoon check-in, she asked Maya how she was adjusting to the job. Not just the work, but how she was doing. "As a person, it's getting better," Maya said honestly. "People are friendlier now." Rachel nodded. "I've noticed that too, and I've been thinking about my role in creating the environment here." She paused, looking uncomfortable with the vulnerability. "I think I've been so focused on pushing for results that I forgot to treat people like people. Including you." Maya didn't know what to say. She'd never expected an apology from her supervisor. "Anyway," Rachel continued, back to business but with a softer edge. "Keep up the good work, and thank you for being yourself. Turns out that matters more than I realized." That Monday, Maya had coffee with Kevin, then with someone from finance named Patricia, then with a developer named Luis. Each conversation started a bit awkward, both people not quite sure what to talk about without the usual work agenda. But then they'd find common ground, favorite lunch spots, weekend hobbies, where they grew up. Normal human stuff. Luis told her about his daughter's soccer games. Patricia mentioned she was learning piano. Kevin shared that he was trying to write a novel in his spare time. "Really? That's so cool," Maya said. "What kind of novel?" "Science fiction. Probably terrible." He laughed. "But it's fun." These were the kinds of conversations Maya had imagined having at work. Not just task lists and deadline discussions, but real connections. Getting to know the people behind the job titles. The changes weren't universal. Some people kept to themselves, either by nature or by choice. Some thought the whole thing was a waste of time. Maya overheard one person complaining that they didn't get paid to socialize. But enough people engaged that the atmosphere shifted. The floor felt warmer somehow, less isolating. On Thursday afternoon, Maya saw a line of people outside Robert Mitchell's office. The open office hours he'd promised. She was curious but felt too intimidated to sign up herself. What would she even say to him? But Kevin convinced her. Come on, you should totally go. You're probably the reason he's doing this anyway. That's exactly why I shouldn't go. It would be weird, or it would be perfect. Just sign up for next week, Maya thought about it. What did she have to lose? The next Thursday, she found herself sitting in a chair outside the CEO's office, nervously checking her phone. The person before her came out smiling. Then it was her turn. Robert's office was huge, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. But he wasn't sitting behind his massive desk. Instead, he was sitting in a regular chair, gesturing for Maya to take the one across from him. Maya, he said warmly, I was hoping you'd sign up. Hi, Mr. Mitchell. Please call me Robert. He smiled, the same genuine smile from the elevator. I wanted to thank you personally. Your simple greeting that day reminded me of something I'd forgotten. I didn't mean to. I know you didn't. That's what made it so powerful. You weren't trying to impress anyone or get anything. You were just being kind, being human. He leaned forward. Can I ask you something? Where did you work before this? Maya told him about her college jobs, retail, coffee shops, places where interacting with people was part of the job. And did people usually greet each other in those places? Yeah, of course. It would be weird not to. Robert nodded slowly. Exactly. It would be weird not to. But somehow in corporate environments we've made it weird to connect, to acknowledge each other as humans first and job titles second. They talked for the full 15 minutes. About workplace culture, about what drew Maya to marketing, about his journey starting the company. It felt less like talking to a CEO and more like talking to someone's dad. Wise and approachable. As she was leaving, Robert said, Keep being yourself. Maya, don't let this place change that about you. Walking back to her desk, Maya felt lighter. The man who ran this entire company had taken time to talk with her. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. Because he valued her perspective as a person. Over the next few weeks, the changes became more visible. Someone started a company-wide chat channel for sharing weekend plans and hobbies. A book club formed. A lunch-hour walking group started meeting at the front entrance. The conference rooms that used to sit empty during lunch were now filled with people from different departments, eating together and chatting. The break rooms buzzed with actual conversation instead of silent phone scrolling. Not everyone participated. Some people preferred to keep work and personal life separate, and that was fine. But for those who wanted connection, it was there now. Available. Encouraged. Maya noticed productivity hadn't dropped despite people spending more time socializing. If anything, projects seemed to move faster, because people actually knew each other now. They could pick up the phone and call someone by name instead of sending cold emails to strangers. They collaborated more easily because they'd built relationships first. Rachel started holding weekly team lunches. Voluntary, but most people showed up. They'd talk about work for half the time, then just chat about life for the rest. Maya learned that Rachel had 2 teenage sons who drove her crazy, that she loved hiking, that she'd been with the company for 12 years. I forgot what this felt like, Rachel admitted one day. Having work friends, people you actually care about beyond project deadlines. The skeptics started coming around too. The guy who'd complained about not getting paid to socialize started joining the walking group. A woman who'd always eaten lunch alone at her desk started coming to the book club meetings. Even the building itself felt different. The marble lobby still looked expensive and impressive, but now there was life in it. People stopped to chat instead of rushing past each other. Someone had placed a suggestion box near the entrance, and people actually used it. One afternoon, Maya was waiting for the elevator when a group of executives stepped out. She moved aside to let them pass, and one of them, a woman with silver hair, paused. You're Maya, right? The intern who started all this? Maya felt her face flush. I didn't really start anything. You said hello, the woman finished. Sometimes that's all it takes. She smiled warmly before walking away. The elevator doors opened and Maya stepped in, shaking her head in wonder. 6 weeks ago, she was the invisible intern in the corner cubicle. Now people knew her name. More importantly, people knew each other's names. 3 months into her internship, Maya barely recognized the place where she worked. The transformation hadn't happened overnight. But looking back, the difference was remarkable. The most obvious change was the noise level. Not loud exactly, but the office hummed with conversation now. People actually talked to each other at their desks. Quick check-ins, shared jokes, questions asked out loud instead of through email. The morning she arrived to find decorations hanging in the break room, Maya knew something was happening. Balloons. A homemade banner that said, "Happy birthday, Dennis." "Who's Dennis?" she asked Kevin, who was getting coffee. "IT guy. Works on the 14th floor. Apparently someone found out it was his birthday and decided to do something about it." Kevin grinned. Wild, right? 6 months ago, nobody would have even known. Throughout the day, people stopped by the break room to sign a card and grab a piece of cake someone had brought. Dennis himself looked overwhelmed in a good way. He kept saying it wasn't necessary, but his smile suggested otherwise. "Thank you," he said to no one in particular. "This is really nice. I usually just work through my birthday." A woman from accounting patted his shoulder. "Not this year. These small celebrations became more common. Work anniversaries, project completions, someone's kid graduating. The company had always sent formal acknowledgement emails for these things, but now people actually marked them in personal ways." Maya's role at work had expanded too. Rachel started including her in bigger projects, asking for her input during meetings. Not just busy work anymore, but real contributions. One afternoon, Rachel called her into the conference room where a few other team members were already gathered. "We want your perspective on something," Rachel said. "We're redesigning the company's internal communications, how we share information between departments, and we realize we should probably ask the person who helped us remember how to communicate in the first place." Maya felt both proud and embarrassed. "I just said hello in an elevator." "You did more than that," another team member, James, said. "You reminded us that people matter. Now we want to apply that principle to how we structure our communications, make them more human, less robotic." They spent 2 hours brainstorming. Instead of formal memos, what about video messages? Instead of mass emails, what about team huddles? Small changes that would keep the human element alive even as information was shared. Maya suggested a weekly newsletter featuring employee stories. Not work achievements necessarily, but interesting things about people. Hobbies, volunteer work, hidden talents. "I love that," Rachel said, making notes. "Let's do it." The first newsletter went out 2 weeks later. The featured employee was Luis, the developer Maya had coffee with. Turned out he was a volunteer firefighter on weekends. The photo showed him in full gear, smiling at the camera. Response was immediate. People replied with supportive messages. Some shared their own volunteer experiences. Others asked questions about how to get involved. "This is exactly what we needed," Robert wrote in a company-wide message. "Seeing each other as complete people, not just our job functions." The changes extended beyond social interactions. Real business improvements followed the cultural shift. The marketing and product development teams, which had barely communicated before, now collaborated regularly. Kevin told Maya that having actual relationships made a huge difference. "Before, I'd send over technical specs and marketing would send back campaign ideas. And neither of us really understood what the other needed," he explained. "Now I can just walk over and talk to Rachel or James, and we figure it out together in 5 minutes." Projects that used to take weeks of back-and-forth emails now moved faster, because people picked up the phone or walked to each other's desks. Innovation increased because people felt comfortable sharing half-formed ideas without judgment. The company started hosting monthly all-hands meetings, but they looked different than before. Robert still covered business updates, but then he'd open the floor for people to share wins, challenges, or just interesting things they were working on. In one meeting, an accountant named Patricia talked about a more efficient way to process expense reports she'd discovered. In another, a junior developer shared a coding breakthrough. People applauded, asked questions, engaged. "This feels like a team now," someone said after one meeting. Maya's internship was scheduled to end in a month. She tried not to think about it too much, but the reality was approaching. She'd started applying to full-time positions at other companies, updating her resume, preparing for interviews. One morning, Rachel asked to see her. Maya assumed it was another project assignment, but Rachel's expression seemed more serious. "Close the door and sit down," Rachel said. Maya's stomach tensed. Had she done something wrong? "I wanted to talk to you about what happens after your internship ends." Here it comes, Maya thought. The thank you for your service, best of luck in your future endeavors speech. We'd like to offer you a full-time position, Rachel said, Associate Marketing Coordinator. It comes with a real salary, benefits, the works. Maya's mouth fell open. Really? Really? You've done excellent work, Maya. But more than that, you've helped transform this place. Robert specifically asked me to make sure we didn't lose you. I don't know what to say. Rachel smiled, warmer than Maya had ever seen her. Say yes. Take the weekend to think about it if you need to, but we really hope you'll stay. That evening, Maya called her mother from the bus, unable to wait until she got home. They offered me a job, Mom, a real job. Her mother's excited scream was so loud, Maya had to pull the phone away from her ear. I knew it. I knew you'd do great. I was so nervous when I started, remember? I almost didn't think I belonged there. And now they can't imagine the place without you. Maya thought about that. Not just the job offer, but the deeper truth. She'd found a place where she fit, where being herself wasn't just accepted but valued. She accepted the position that Monday. Rachel hugged her, which would have been unthinkable 3 months ago. Word spread quickly through the office. Kevin brought cupcakes. Patricia sent a congratulations email with way too many exclamation points. Louise high-fived her in the break room. Even Robert stopped by her desk personally. Welcome to the team officially, he said. Though honestly, you've been part of the team since that morning in the elevator. Thank you for giving me a chance, Maya said. And for being open to change, Robert shook his head. I should be thanking you. This company was dying. Even if our balance sheets didn't show it yet. We were losing the soul of what we built. You helped us find it again. The next few weeks flew by as Maya transitioned from intern to full employee. She got a new desk, a bigger one near a window. She got business cards with her name and title. She got invited to meetings she would have never attended as an intern. But the best part was feeling like she truly belonged. Not just as an employee, but as a valued member of a community. The office culture continued to evolve. Someone started a mentorship program, pairing senior employees with newer ones. Not just for job skills, but for overall career guidance and support. Maya signed up and was paired with one of the senior marketing directors, a woman named Jennifer who'd been with the company for 15 years. I wish we'd had something like this when I started, Jennifer told her during their first coffee meeting. I felt so isolated for the first few years. Just kept my head down and worked. I didn't realize how lonely I was until things changed. What made it change for you? Maya asked. Honestly? You, Jennifer smiled. That whole elevator thing, the cultural shift that followed, it made me realize I'd been going through the motions for years. I'd forgotten why I loved this work in the first place. Stories like that kept surfacing. People who'd been quietly unhappy but didn't realize it until things changed. People who'd considered leaving but now felt re-engaged. The transformation rippled out in ways Maya never anticipated. The company's employee satisfaction scores, which were measured quarterly, jumped significantly. Turnover decreased. Productivity increased. Even client relationships improved because the internal collaboration led to better work. Robert shared these metrics in a company meeting, but then he said something that stuck with Maya. Numbers are great. They matter. But what matters more is that this feels like a place where humans want to work again, where people don't dread Monday mornings, where we remember that we're all just people trying to do good work and live good lives. The room erupted in applause. Not everything was perfect, of course. Some people left uncomfortable with the new culture. They preferred the old way, the distance, the formal boundaries. That was okay. Not every workplace has to fit every person. But for those who stayed, the difference was undeniable. The office felt alive in a way it hadn't before. Maya sometimes thought about that morning in the elevator. How nervous she'd been. How she'd just done what felt natural without thinking about it. A simple good morning to a stranger. She wondered what would have happened if she'd stayed silent, if she'd been too intimidated to speak. Would things have eventually changed anyway, or would the company have continued down its path of isolated efficiency until something broke? There was no way to know, but she was glad she'd spoken up, glad she'd been herself. One Friday afternoon, the company held a celebration. 6 months since the Connection Monday initiative started. Half a year of intentional culture building. The break room was packed with people, snacks covering every available surface. Someone had made a slideshow of photos from the past months. Birthday celebrations, team lunches, the walking group at the park, candid shots of people laughing together at their desks. Robert gave a short speech thanking everyone for embracing the changes. Then he surprised everyone by calling Maya to the front. "I want to recognize someone publicly," he said. "Maya joined us as an intern 6 months ago. She had no agenda, no master plan. She just treated people like people, and that simple act reminded us who we wanted to be." "Maya, thank you." Everyone applauded. Maya felt her face burning but managed a smile and a wave. Afterward, people came up to her, sharing their own stories of how things had changed for them, how much better they felt coming to work, how they'd reconnected with the passion that brought them to their careers in the first place. An older woman from legal, someone Maya had never spoken to, approached with tears in her eyes. "I've been here 18 years, she said. "I was planning to retire early because I couldn't stand the environment anymore. But now I remember why I stayed so long. Thank you for helping us find our way back." Maya hugged her, both of them crying a little. That evening, riding the bus home, Maya looked at her reflection in the window. She looked the same as she had 6 months ago. Same face, same person. But she felt different. More confident. More certain of her place in the world. Her phone buzzed. A text from Kevin. "Drinks next Friday? Celebrating your 6-month anniversary as the person who accidentally fixed everything." Maya laughed and typed back, "I didn't fix anything. I just said hello." "Sometimes that's all it takes," Kevin replied. And maybe, Maya thought, that was the whole point. A year after Maya's first day at Tech Vista, she sat in a conference room preparing for something she never imagined. She was about to present to a group of executives from other companies who wanted to understand how Tech Vista had transformed its culture so dramatically. Robert had asked her to co-present with him. "They need to hear it from you," he'd said. "From someone who was there at the beginning and saw it all unfold." Maya adjusted her notes one more time, trying to calm her nerves. Rachel sat beside her, offering a reassuring smile. "You'll do great," Rachel said. "Just tell them the truth." The executives filed in, 10 of them representing companies from across the city, all curious about what had happened at Tech Vista. The business journals had picked up the story. Employee satisfaction up 42%, turnover down 60%, productivity and innovation both climbing steadily. The numbers were impressive, but the real story was deeper. Robert stood to welcome everyone, then gestured to Maya. "Before I talk about strategies and initiatives, I want you to hear from Maya. She's the associate marketing coordinator who accidentally started a revolution with 2 words. Good morning." The executives chuckled politely, probably thinking it was an exaggeration. Maya stood, took a breath, and began. "A year ago, I was terrified on my first day. Everything about this building was intimidating. The marble floors, the glass walls, the serious faces of people who seemed to know exactly what they were doing. I felt small and invisible." She saw a few executives nodding. They understood that feeling. "For 2 days, I barely spoke to anyone. The office was quiet. Not peaceful quiet, but empty quiet. People worked side by side but felt miles apart. I thought that was just how corporate life worked. That maybe connection and warmth were things you had to leave behind when you entered the professional world." Maya clicked to the next slide, showing a photo of the old break room. Empty tables. People on phones, isolated. "Then on my 3rd day, I got in an elevator with a man I didn't know, and I did something that felt completely natural to me, even though it apparently hadn't happened in that building for a long time. I said good morning and smiled at him." She advanced to the next slide. Robert's professional headshot. Turned out that man was Robert Mitchell, the CEO, and apparently that simple greeting affected him deeply. Enough that he mentioned it in an executive meeting. Enough that he started questioning what had happened to this company's culture. One of the visiting executives raised her hand, but surely it took more than just a greeting to change an entire company. "You're absolutely right," Maya said. "The greeting was just the beginning. What mattered was what happened next." Robert didn't just think about it. He acted. She clicked through slides showing the initiatives. Connection Mondays. Open office hours. The employee newsletter. Team lunches. Each one simple. Each one focused on human connection. None of these programs were expensive or complicated, Maya explained. They just required one thing, treating people like people. Not resources. Not productivity machines, people. Robert stepped in to share the business side. How internal collaboration improved. How client relationships strengthened. How innovation increased when people felt safe sharing ideas. "But here's what really matters," Robert said. "We didn't do this to improve our metrics, though that was a nice result. We did it because we'd lost our way. We'd created an environment where talented, good people came to work every day feeling isolated and disconnected. That's not success, no matter what the balance sheet says. During the question portion, one executive asked the question Maya had been expecting. How do you scale this? How do you keep the personal touch as you grow? Maya and Robert had talked about this a lot lately. Tech Vista was expanding, opening new offices, hiring rapidly. It starts with hiring, Maya said. We now look for people who value connection and collaboration, not just technical skills. And we train managers specifically on maintaining culture, not just hitting targets. Rachel added her perspective. I used to think my job was pushing for results at any cost. Now I understand my job is creating an environment where people can do their best work. Sometimes that means taking time for a conversation that isn't directly about the task at hand. That's not wasted time. That's investment. Another executive asked about pushback. Surely not everyone embraced the changes. Some people left, Robert admitted. They preferred the old way, the distance, the formal boundaries. That's okay. We're not trying to be the right fit for everyone. We're trying to be authentic to our values. Maya shared a story about David, a senior developer who'd initially resisted Connection Mondays. He thought it was a waste of time. Corporate nonsense designed to make people feel good without changing anything real. But 6 months in, David ended up collaborating with someone from sales on a project. They'd met during a Connection Monday coffee. That collaboration led to a new product feature that significantly improved customer satisfaction. David told me later that he'd been wrong, that knowing people as humans first made better business relationships possible. The presentation wrapped up with a video montage, clips of employees talking about how things had changed, the walking group laughing together, birthday celebrations, team celebrations, and quieter moments too, people having real conversations at their desks. Someone comforting a coworker who'd gotten bad news. The small human moments that made a workplace feel like a community. As the visiting executives left, several stopped to talk with Maya personally. Thank you for sharing your story, one woman said. I've been feeling exactly what you described. Like we've lost something important in pursuit of efficiency. This gives me hope we can find it again. After everyone left, Robert, Rachel, and Maya sat in the empty conference room. That went well, Robert said. You were excellent, Maya. I just told the truth. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, Rachel said. Over the following months, Maya's role expanded further. She became the unofficial ambassador of Tech Vista's culture, speaking at industry events, writing articles, consulting with other departments as they grew. But she never forgot where it started. A nervous intern, a kind greeting, a CEO willing to listen and change. The company continued to grow. New hires came in regularly. Each one received not just job training but culture training, what it meant to work at Tech Vista, why connection mattered, how to maintain humanity in a corporate environment. Maya often spoke at new hire orientations, sharing her story. She watched their faces change as they realized this place was different, that they wouldn't have to choose between professional success and human connection. One new intern, a young man named Chris, approached her after an orientation session. I'm nervous, he admitted. I don't want to mess up. Maya smiled, remembering her own first days. Just be yourself. That's all anyone really needs. What if my self isn't good enough? Your authentic self is always good enough. Trust me. She watched him walk away, hoping he'd believe it. The story spread beyond Tech Vista. Other companies started implementing similar initiatives. Some succeeded, some failed. Maya learned that it wasn't just about copying programs. It was about genuine commitment from leadership, about valuing people over processes. One afternoon, Maya received an email from a stranger, a woman named Lisa who worked at a company across town. I read your article about workplace culture. It inspired me to start saying good morning to people in my office. Most ignored me at first, but a few smiled back. And slowly things started changing. Just wanted to thank you for the reminder that small actions matter. Maya printed that email and kept it on her desk. Reminders like that kept her grounded. She wasn't special. She hadn't invented anything revolutionary. She'd just been herself, and somehow, in the right moment, that had mattered.